What's up, y'all? It's Sean Garcia. It's been a while. Back on YouTube, back recording, documenting my thoughts and experiences as a health and fitness advocate. For those who don't know me, I've been in the health and fitness space, industry, movement for the past 20 years or so here in New York City. I have a background as a community organizer, and that's technically what I do now for work full time. But I also, for a long time, I worked in the health space within New York City, both on the corporate end, working as a personal trainer and a fitness manager and a gym manager for big corporate entities. I also worked in the health and fitness education space, so helping people get certified or preparatory courses to then become certified, working for different entities, delivering their certification material, so lots of things. And then, of course, many of y'all know me from my time running and being the executive director for a nonprofit here in New York City called Revolutionary Fitness. And Revolutionary Fitness was founded back in 2010, which is crazy now because we're almost 15 years out from when we created Revolutionary Fitness, when I was a younger guy. And yeah, it's been a journey. And Revolutionary Fitness has been a very significant part of my life and part of my experience, and a big contribution of my work was through Revolutionary Fitness. But I've done a lot of other things since then, during the time, and of course now I'm in a bit of a different space, which I'll talk about maybe in a little bit of a different video. But I just wanted to talk about where I've been, where I'm going, what the point of this video is, and what I hope to be documenting over the next coming years here on my YouTube channel and on my my blog. So I have, since Revolutionary Fitness, Revolutionary Fitness, we kind of closed down operation for Revolutionary Fitness, at least our physical locations, during the pandemic back in 2020. There was just, for us, as I guess we're health and fitness instructors and trainers and coaches, and we were a gym owner for our local studio here in New York City. And of course, from an entrepreneurial business end, we wanted to maintain operations. We wanted to, kind of work through the struggles that the pandemic presented, and still provide service to community on the one end. And then on the other end, which I think is the more important end, the core of why we got into the work and why we created Revolutionary Fitness in the first place was coming from an advocacy perspective, right? We consider ourselves, in the Revolutionary Fitness space, we were health and fitness advocates, trainers, coaches, all the other stuff as well, but primarily focused on advocacy and really talking about health and fitness from a political perspective, and how communities that have been historically underserved, how health and fitness translates into our communities and our spaces. So from the advocacy front, it was really hard for us to be in a health crisis and still try to push people to be in our physical spaces and to work out with us and all that kind of stuff. It was very, very tough for us. So we decided to close down operations during the pandemic and revisit the idea when things got a little bit better in the world to maybe reopen our studios, relaunch our programming. But life happens. People have to make decisions personally and professionally, and a lot of us just got into different spaces over the course of the past 3 to 4 years. And that doesn't mean that we're not still invested in the work, excited about doing the work and providing the services, but we had to figure out what was going to be our lane and what was going to be our space, and what did we want to do with the Revolutionary Fitness project itself. And I think that's still different in different parts of the world where Revolutionary Fitness developed and where our people's trainers exist. But for me personally, getting back into gym ownership and reopening a fitness studio was just not really something that made sense for me personally. So I have been thinking about, okay, what can be my greatest contribution? And, my biggest passion, of course, is education and really working with people to understand their bodies, their health, their interaction with others, in an educational capacity. So I love training, I love coaching, I love, programming, running classes, all that kind of stuff. But really at the crux of it for me personally is education. We've been trying to figure out what the next step is. And for me, I figured out, okay, I've been going through my own personal journey with health and fitness and my own different, evolutions of my practice. And maybe the starting point is just to document what I'm doing. Document the kind of training I'm doing, my approach to training right now, share some of my bigger goals on my YouTube channel and document that experience. And really just start with a low lift kind of share out, no expectations tied to it, no goals of building out a business or anything like that, but really just sharing out my experience. And so the goal over the next couple of months, maybe years, is through social media and through this virtual medium, I can share some of those passions. I can share potentially some of the knowledge and expertise that I have on these subject matters. But more importantly, I could just provide my unique perspective to the conversation. I will say that things have changed a lot, since we started Revolutionary Fitness back in 2010. Things have changed a lot, in New York City where I live in terms of how health and fitness is experienced. There's all different types of gyms and fitness studios and social groups that now exist that didn't really exist 15, 20 years ago in New York City. And it's great to see, especially I would say the movements that have developed in communities of color, in outer borough communities, which usually didn't have the same access, still don't. That's another topic for another day. But I would say there's more like BIPOC-led running clubs. There's more community gardens popping up in the hood, and people are doing some more urban farming. And, it's just a different kind of movement, which is great, and it's great to see its evolution. And so I want to talk about, how I'm interacting in those worlds. And then also, too, a lot has changed for me personally. I've just celebrated my 40th birthday a couple weeks ago, which is really exciting. You can see all the gray hairs. That's probably new for the YouTube channel. Of course, professionally, I am doing some different work. I'm working in the nonprofit space, still kind of in the health and environmental justice activism. And I'll talk about it in a different video, but I'm very much working full-time in that world. And of course, I'm still, a full-time dad with my partner Jenny and our little one Kaya. And so a lot of things have changed for me. My personal training practices have shifted a bit, and I want to share that stuff on this YouTube channel. I've gotten into running again pretty heavily, I would say, in the past year or two. For those who know me from the past, I've had ebbs and flows of my running, my commitment to running. But I would say that is a big part of my life now, is running and training for races, and something that I want to share on this channel. I also, too, still have a lot of the physical practices with functional training and natural movement and kettlebells and all that good stuff. But that has evolved now that I'm not a gym owner and that I'm not, I don't have a space that I go to every day where I work, and the stuff is readily available. It's a little bit different for me now. So I want to share all these things, and hopefully people are into it. If you're not, it's all good. There's a lot of other people sharing great resources as well. I would say, for those who don't know me that well, what is probably the most unique thing to my approach on health and fitness, my political analysis of how people move, what people have access to in terms of health and fitness, and also to the cultural responsiveness of some of our health and fitness practices. I would say that, I'm not alone in these perspectives, but it's something that I would say, especially on YouTube and in the virtual space, you don't hear a lot about, right? People don't really associate politics and health and fitness together. In fact, most people in the health and fitness space, I think, would argue, get the politics out, don't let it muddy the waters, let's not get distracted by, who you are and where you come from and all that kind of stuff. And I just think like politics are inherently a part of our existence. How our bodies interact with the world and how our identities play out in terms of what things we are predisposed to, or how people treat us in society. All those things, I believe, have a very, very deep impact on people's health, fitness, and mental health, of course. So that's my unique perspective, and I infuse it into everything I do. That doesn't mean that we're always going to be talking about politics on my channel, or that I'm going to over analyze things and make everything super political. That's not what I'm saying. But I think it's a unique perspective that I bring into the space that hopefully resonates with some people, and hopefully the trolls don't come out in the comments and start dogging me, and just respect that I'm a human going through my human experience, and you're a human going through your experiences, and we're gonna agree and disagree on some things. There's gonna be some stuff that I say that resonates with you, and some things that you might find conflict with your ideas, and that's all good. We're here to just respect each other's experiences and figure out how to coexist in this planet in a healthy way, and not be hateful to each other. So that's a little synopsis of what I hope to do on the big, grand scale of things. Now, more specifically though, over the next couple weeks, I want to talk about what I'm going to be documenting on my channel, just so you know what to expect. So currently I'm training, I'm in the middle of training for my running season in 2024. So I have a couple 10Ks and half marathons, and potentially I'm running the New York City Marathon. It's not official what team I'm going to be on and all that kind of stuff. I'm still playing around with different options. I was supposed to run the marathon in New York City last year, but got bogged down by an injury towards the end of the year. Have worked through that injury, thankfully. And I'm ready to train for this year's marathon, but we'll see what happens. But a lot of the stuff I'm going to be documenting on my YouTube channel is around training for my running season. And how that differs maybe from other running blogs is that I, think my experience is a little bit more unique. I'm a bigger bodied, man of color in his 40s now. And yeah, I think it's just a little bit of a different experience than most of the stuff that you see on YouTube and online. So hopefully I can share out my experiences. I'm also, for those who don't know my background, I'm a plant-based athlete. So, that also plays out in my training. I also am what I guess is being termed these days as a hybrid athlete. So in combination to my endurance training, I do a lot of strength training, and I don't shy away from the strength training and the strength goals. And I know there's always some sacrifice when you're doing both at the same time and not hyper focused on one. But I want to document my experience of being a plant-based athlete in my 40s, training for some really cool endurance races this year, and also combining it with my strength training goals, while at the same time managing being a full-time director at a nonprofit, being a parent, being civically engaged, being on my local community board and school board, and all the things that we have in our personal lives when we're talking about trying to be healthy, all the things that we're balancing it out. I want to share those things over the next couple of weeks and months with y'all, so y'all can hear about my journey, and I also can just be accountable, right? Because there's a certain level of knowing when you're sharing stuff on YouTube and online that you're holding yourself accountable to other folks, right? People are listening to your experience, wanting to be part of your experience. So this is also accountability for me, being able to share out with you all, and being held accountable to some of the goals and commitments I make. So that's the plan over the next couple of weeks and months. Excited to be here with y'all. Thank you so much for those who have been supportive of my journey of revolutionary fitness and our work, and excited to see what the future holds for us. Let's move together, y'all. Peace.